Hi, I'm Tal. I'm autistic, and it's Autism Awareness Month. This will be my first time celebrating the month as someone who is autistic. And I thought what I could do is challenge myself to be vulnerable enough to talk about my experience with autism for this month. And I think a good place to start is when I was diagnosed with autism, which is a very complex matter because I've been diagnosed twice with autism in my life. So it gets a little confusing. About a year ago, I was diagnosed with autism, and I found out after the diagnosis with talking to family, friends, old teachers, that I was actually diagnosed with autism for the first time when I was in about pre-K kindergarten age. I was actually diagnosed with ADHD, autism, and dyslexia back then, and just didn't know. My mom, she never told me. Now, I had an IEP from pre-K to senior year of high school, and I thought it was because I had a speech impediment, and it was very difficult for me to talk and to be understood when I talked. My mom never let me go to my IEP meetings though, so I didn't know anything, and I think that she wanted it that way, and I don't think she had like ill intentions, right? I think my mom did it specifically to protect me, or what she thought was protecting me. When we don't tell our children such a pivotal part of who they are, it is so invalidating when they're experiencing things that maybe their peers aren't. I would cry over certain clothes my mom would put me in because I'd feel like they were burning me because they just didn't feel right on my skin. But I knew that my siblings and that other people at school didn't do that. I had a very difficult time like connecting with other kids because I had two fascinations, and it was disease for some reason and Batman. And kids didn't want to talk about that all the time, but I couldn't figure out where the disconnect was. I couldn't figure out why those kids didn't want to talk to me about these subjects that I was interested in all the time. I had an exceptionally hard time regulating my emotions and talking about my emotions, which like made it difficult sometimes to like have relationships with my peers and my teachers because I would cry frequently. I also have a speech impediment, and that's a pretty common thing that people with autism can have. And I couldn't figure out why the other kids in my, speech therapy classes, they only went to speech therapy from like pre-K until like third grade or second grade. And I was in speech therapy until I was in 8th grade. That's a conversation for another day. When we don't tell kids such a big part about who they are, it can make them feel isolated. It can make them feel othered. And so I think that although it can be scary for parents, and I understand that parents don't do this to be malicious a lot of the times, and I understand that my mom didn't do it to be malicious, and I wish I could have had this conversation with her before she passed away. It is so important that you tell kids all that you know about them that can help them recognize and understand who they are and how they better fit into like the fabric of their classroom or with their friends, because it's not that we are weird, right? We just learn and look at the world maybe a little differently, and that's totally okay. But not knowing that makes us question a lot. Why can't we be like XYZ, or why can't we socialize like these kids? And it's just that we do it differently. And when we don't give kids the tool and the power of knowledge, of knowing themselves, it can be pretty detrimental to them. So this is day one of talking about autism. Let me know if you have any questions.